Hello everybody, welcome to the Wonky Angle, where I talk about electronic music, both new and old. And today I'm talking about the new album from Petit, Biscuit. Presents. Petit Biscuit is a French-Moroccan producer who has yet another name that I cannot be bothered to pronounce. He's pretty new on the scene. He had a self-titled EP last year with a pretty nice track called Sunset Lover, making a fair bit of traction. And on top of that, this guy is, only 18 years old as of making this video. 4 years younger than me. God damn. I think I have reviewed artists younger than me before, but, I think they were of the obscure Bandcamp variety and, people I know on a more personal level through comments or Twitter or whatever. That's certainly not the makes it up to #1 on the electronic charts on iTunes for a day variety. Christ, I really don't have any more intro for this guy. That's basically all you need. I mean, you got a genuine newcomer on our hands here. Cool that someone so young managed to reach that level of success by himself. So I had no expectations going into this, aside from the fact that he included Sunset Lover on here again. Kinda wish he'd just keep the whole album original, but oh well. So without any further ado, how does Presents fare? Yeah, this album, it's not good. Not terrible or insulting by any stretch, but basically Petit Biscuit comes off to me as a blander version of Odessa mixed with a little Kygo, and also, gotta be honest, production here maybe also kind of reminds me of that Chainsmokers album a little bit. Just the production, though. Their album is not weighed down by having a douchebag singing badly over it, but yeah, mainly sounds like Odessa, but more commercial and less interesting. Sounds like something a marketing department came up with to appeal to millennials or something. There's some effort in the production here, and it is pleasant and inoffensive, I guess. Not painful to listen to, but it is so lacking in unique personality. This is music, begging to be used in commercials alongside the, Imagine Dragons and similar acts of the world. It doesn't sound like Imagine Dragons, it's much more low-key, but it is definitely in that same commercial vein. This is 54 minutes of low-key, pseudo-deep commercial music, and it is an absolute slog. Now, for what it's worth, I don't object to the low-key aspect of it. I mean, I'm always game for something on the chill side, but Petit Biscuit just doesn't really do anything interesting. This album didn't piss me off, but it was just very dull. Everything just sounds like cliches of popular electronic music of the last 2 or 3 years. Chill build-ups with some acoustic textures, completely flat and uninteresting drops that technically match the momentum of the track, but not like the tracks really had much momentum in the first place. Kinda like newer Martin Garrix, albeit not an assault on the ears. And of course, lots of pitched up vocal snippets. You know exactly the kind. I mean, everyone freaking uses them these days. Not just Odessa, but also DJ Snake, obviously. Marshmello, Zed, the Chainsmokers, even Galantis and Clean Bandit, for crying out loud. I mean, even some of those guys do kind of succeed in at least being fun. Not all of them. And, Petit Biscuit also does not. Now, I suppose this guy does have his moments where I'm kind of engaged by what I'm hearing. I still think Sunset Lover is pretty good, even if it has those vocal chops. It at least stays in that chill mode the whole time and doesn't really even bother with a drop. And I like the guitar tone he uses, even if it is kind of similar to, well, you can see here. But I do like that guitar tone. That's another thing. I do tend to like the acoustic textures he uses. The pianos, the guitars, the flutes. Tracks like Beam have a really nice intro with the pianos in this case. They just kinda waste it all on really boring drops. There are tracks that actually bother to have drops that don't sound completely flat. Gravitation and On the Road are 2 good examples. Though the latter is a little more satisfying to listen if you ask me. Problems was a pretty good tropical house pop track, and Waterfall is decent enough too. Got this guy called Panama on it, who is doing his absolute best Sampha impression. And the track Break Up bothers to be a little more interesting. Got some nice guitars in the beginning, and the drop is kind of like that empty space kind of drop. But it does kind of provide a more interesting twist, and it doesn't feel like a buzzkill. I was glad to hear something different. I suppose the title track does something vaguely similar as well, but yeah, that's about it though. I mean, there's the intro track, which takes a long time to get going and then just ends abruptly almost right after it actually gets going, but that's basically it. I really don't have much to say on an individual track basis for this one. Now, I've been ragging on this album for sounding exactly like everything else currently popular in the electronic world. I could maybe excuse its lack of originality if it brought some kind of visceral reaction out of me. Like, if there were tracks I thought that were particularly catchy or got me in the feel some way, like that new Galantis album, definitely not original, but it was at least catchy, at least put me in a good mood. I feel like I could excuse that, but this one just... nah. There's really nothing on this album that has a hook memorable enough or an emotional core strong enough for me to want to return to any of this. Basically, it just leaves no replay value whatsoever. Sure, it's got some neat instrumental textures here and there, but there's nothing here that I feel like I could get from a better, already existing release. I mean, I don't want to shit on the guy, since he's really young and I suppose could have the potential to do something cool in the future when he gets older, but I'd never be able to guess this came from an 18-year-old released independently. I mean, I suppose you could take that as a compliment, but I'd have just guessed this came from a marketing company getting background music for ads ready. This kid could have a career in ghostwriting for pop music, I guess, but he has yet to prove to me he's worth my time by himself. Production is alright, mixing is good, but as an album experience, this was mediocre at best, and I have no desire to return to this in the future whatsoever. I know this guy has his fans, I'm sure they're gonna be really pissed off and tell me how I just don't get it, this is really the best music ever, and how come you didn't make music when you were 18? Even though I totally did, but not like that's gonna matter. Yeah, I know this is gonna most likely be a major dislike magnet, but I personally can't in good faith recommend this to anyone. There's plenty of better chill out and EDM pop better than this. Try Jamie XX, Bonobo, Air, Ulrich Schnauz, John Hopkins, to name just a few. And this one, yeah, you can skip it. I'm overall feeling a 4.5 out of 10. But of course, this is just my opinion. You can feel free to disagree with it, but I'd like to hear your thoughts, so leave the comments in the comment thing down there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all for today. See you next time.